Hello students, this is Professor Anne-Laure, and today we're going to talk about procrastination. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm not a professor, but I am a master procrastinator. Most people associate procrastination with laziness. I procrastinate, therefore I'm lazy. But in reality, procrastination often stems from other factors. These factors are explicit motives, which are the conscious motives that we may have to do or not do something. Then our implicit motives, which are the unconscious reasons we may have to do or not do something. And finally, our perceived abilities, which are the skills that we think we have and what we think we're capable of accomplishing. Together, these three components of motivation form the 3C model of motivation, which was invented by Professor Procrastination at the University of California, Berkeley. An easy way to implement this model is to ask yourself whenever you procrastinate, am I procrastinating because of my head, my heart, or my hand? If the problem comes from the head, it means that there is probably an issue with your explicit motives. It means that you're not entirely convinced that doing the task would be helpful or relevant to you. A common example is having to take a course at university that you're forced to take, but you have no interest in and that you think is not going to be helpful for your future career. If the problem is coming from your heart, it means that there is an issue with your implicit motives. So that means that even though your head is convinced that you should be working on the task, you don't find it enjoyable and you're dragging your feet. Okay, another example here would be that you need to give a presentation at work. You know it's a good thing to do, you know it would be good for your career, but you're very stressed by the task and so you don't find it enjoyable and you're dragging your feet. Finally, if there's a problem with the hand, it means that there is an issue with your perceived abilities. Your head is telling you, yeah, we should absolutely do this. Your heart is telling you, that sounds like fun, but your hand is telling you, do I really have the skills to do this? Am I capable of this? So for example, it took me a very long time to get started with this YouTube channel because even though my head was telling me that it would be a good thing to do, my heart was telling me that it would probably be a lot of fun, my hand was telling me that I maybe didn't have the skills. The production value of lots of YouTube videos today is so good. I felt like it would be a lot of work, a lot of skills to get before I could post my first video. And that was definitely an issue with my perceived abilities. Okay, so procrastination is not laziness. It can either come from your head, from your heart, or from your hand. So now that we know that, what do you actually do with this information? How do you get to stop procrastinating? Okay, so let's take them one by one. If the problem is coming from your head, from your explicit motives, you need to find better incentives to convince yourself that this is the right thing to do. Let's go back to the example of having to take a course at university, which you don't really find interesting or relevant. Maybe you can convince yourself to work on the task by remembering that you actually need the credits. Yes, sure, this may not be the most useful course and you may not have to reuse it later in life, but surely knowing that you do need the credits in order to be able to graduate can give you the extra motivation you need to stop procrastinating. If the problem is coming from the heart, from your implicit motives, you need to reframe the task so it's more enjoyable. So for example, if you're struggling to exercise, you can make sure to listen to a fun podcast when you're going for a run, or you can watch a TV show while you're on the treadmill. You can also study with friends to make it a bit more fun. And if the problem comes from your hand, from your perceived abilities, first you need to ask yourself, is that just perception or is that really the case that I don't have the right skills to work on this? Because sometimes we use that as an excuse to procrastinate when really it would be pretty quick to get the skills that we're lacking in order to get the task done, maybe just by watching a quick tutorial or reading a quick article. But sometimes it is true that we don't have the skills to get the thing done. In that case, it is better to start training and learning more so you can get the task done rather than just procrastinate and do nothing. You can do that yourself by taking an online course or by buying some books, or you can reach out to a potential mentor or a coach that can guide you alongside the journey. So to recap, procrastination is not laziness. It can come from the head, your explicit motives, from the heart, your implicit motives, or from the hand, your perceived abilities. By understanding where the problem comes from, whether your head, your heart, or your hand, you can debug your procrastination and make sure that it doesn't last for too long. And in any case, remember, it happens to everyone. It's completely fine. Just make sure that you don't stay stuck for too long. Of course, I forgot to look into the camera again, but I still hope that was helpful, and let me know what you thought in the comments.